Yes and no. So it's such a hard one, right? And I'm gonna back into this two ways. So again, growing up, like I was like, I think, why am I not getting all these kids on these good teams email me? And I'm like, you didn't do that, Andy. You were emailing the coaches that, like the programs that Division Ones you aspired to be at. And I remember this conversation my dad had with me on the back porch, and we had guys, on our club team looking at IU, looking at Kentucky, Harvard, like big time schools, big time programs, South Carolina. And he goes, Andy, I'm sorry, they're not calling. That's not you. These are the types of schools that are interested. I'm not saying you have to go to those schools, but that's where you need to focus your recruitment process. Is the types of schools that fit you athletically, but then academically, where that are strong schools. So that was a pretty humbling experience. And as competitors, we're always bullheaded and stubborn and things like that, and we can always get it done. But that was a good check, because like I can still have a great experience even if it's not at IU, Maryland, Ohio State, UCLA, whatever it is. So the other part of that is it's not my experience. And even though I think Wooster is beautiful, it's great, other D3 schools are awesome, that might not be what they want. And I've had to like take a step back and say like, that's okay. But try to give them the information to make an educated decision. Like, just so you know, like, here's what we can offer you. I don't know what other schools are telling you, but you need to be comfortable with whatever outcome you're going to get, and say, okay, I might be sitting for 2 or 3 years. Like, that's fine if that's what you want, And so that's one thing I've learned. It's not about me and my experience, but about them and helping them get to a place where they're comfortable with the decision that they're making in the process. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'd say it's D1 or bust. I do think we get caught. I think a lot of Division III schools, high academic, are caught in that, we're really good schools and we're really good programs that can compete at a high level across all divisions, but it lacks that, I got to play D1 soccer. And that's a hard one, if that makes sense, And so that to each his own. But I don't say, I think I see that. I think I get frustrated when I see individuals that I think would be a better D3 fit than a D1 fit over here, or even a D2 fit at times. But that's how it goes, and wish them well and try to figure things out, if that makes sense.
It actually does. Like you're what we talked about before we actually started the interview of, I hate to say it, being hands off. I try to tell Mike, like, it's their decision where they're gonna, and you succeed or you don't. That's you, right? I could sit there and tell you what I think, but ultimately it's your call, and I think that's what ends up. There's a lot of cases, right? Like, sure. I think kids have to learn. I hate to say it, like the hard way. I've seen tons of players be like, "I'm going D1," and I'm like, "Good luck with that," because I don't. Same thing, right? You're like, I think I could name 15 other schools that would give you the 10 times better experience, but if that's not where your head's at, I can't tell you otherwise.
And I think the other thing we talk about, like it's when recruits come in or families come in, I don't talk about a lot about soccer unless they ask about it. It's more, here's who we are as a program. Here's our, like, I have a sheet that we talk about our culture, and I say, like, the reality is your hourglass is ticking. Like, there's a reason you're sitting with me, and it's because you're not going to. Not that you can't play USL or things like that, but like, you're probably not going to play in the MLS, if that makes sense. And so, we have that conversation, and the end part is like, you need to do you have to have your microscope and look, what do I want now in these next 4 or 5 years, but also what institution is going to set you up big picture. What is it that you want? Is it, and again, there's no wrong answer. It's what's best for that individual and that family, but trying to give them the information to make those decisions, and look at schools like Wooster where that's not the right fit, and look at these schools over here.
Yeah. I always say too, like, if you think you're going to be at that level, at that highest level, if you haven't heard from anybody by the time you're even a sophomore, including you haven't been called up to a national team, or you're not playing on an academy or MLS, whatever they're called now, that likelihood is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
right. It's sort of a sad reality.
What types of schools are recruiting you? If it's Big Ten, ACC, then those are the schools you should be looking at, or that type of school. If it's high-end D3, D1, then that's probably where the focus should be. And so, and that's hard. I think again, going back to that initial comment, I want to play at the highest level possible, but it's
Yeah.
what is the entire experience, the entire package going to look like? And I think, as a D3 student athlete, I think it's fantastic. I think there's a lot of resources we have at institutions like a Wooster or NCAC schools, OAC schools, UA, like all across the board. There's great schools and great programs and degrees.